The impossible return. The first sign of something unusual came as a barely perceptible anomaly on the deep space scanners. Lieutenant Aisha Grant of the Earth Defense Command, EDC, frowned at the shifting numbers on her console. The long-range sensors at Orbital Defense Station Erebus had detected a spatial distortion, a ripple in the fabric of space where nothing should be. "Lieutenant, report," came the sharp voice of Commander Elias Voss, his gaze locked on the central display. "I'm getting something strange, sir," Aisha replied. "Quantum signatures are fluctuating. It's almost like—" She hesitated, her fingers dancing over the controls, enhancing the data. Then her breath caught. "No way. This can't be right." Commander Voss leaned over, his expression darkening. "Spit it out, Lieutenant." "It's the EWS Odyssey, sir." Silence fell over the command center. That name carried weight, a ghost from the past. "That's impossible," Voss said. "The Odyssey was lost 5 years ago. Officially classified as a deep space exploration vessel, the Odyssey had been the pride of humanity's fleet. Sent beyond the edges of the TOF-CT system to investigate an anomalous energy reading, it had simply vanished. No wreckage, no distress signals, just gone. And now it had returned. A piercing alarm snapped Voss out of his shock. "Full alert," he barked. "Bring defense systems online and scramble all fighters." The command center erupted into activity. Screens flickered with incoming data as weapons platforms powered up, locking onto the point in space where the distortion was growing. Then, without warning, the void split open. A massive rupture in space-time expanded, twisting reality in ways that made the brain rebel against what it saw. Blue arcs of energy crackled along the edges, sending out waves of radiation that shorted out minor subsystems on the station. Then, like a mirage solidifying, the EWS Odyssey emerged. It looked like the same ship that had disappeared, a long, sleek hull with reinforced plating and extended sensor arrays. But something was different. Strange geometric markings ran along the ship's surface, shifting and twisting as if they were alive. The traditional ion thrusters had been replaced by something unfamiliar, glowing with an eerie purple hue. The ship did not appear damaged. It looked enhanced, altered by something beyond human understanding. "Incoming transmission," one of the technicians called out. "It's from the Odyssey." Commander Voss took a deep breath. "Put it through." A moment of static, then a voice, weak, strained, but unmistakably human. "This is Captain Rhys Carter of the EWS Odyssey, requesting immediate assistance. We are not alone." The channel cut out. Voss turned to Aisha. "What the hell does he mean by not alone?" Before she could answer, proximity alarms screamed across the station. The rift had not closed. Something else was coming through. Echoes from the abyss. The silence that followed Captain Rhys Carter's transmission was suffocating. Every officer in Orbital Defense Station Erebus stood frozen, their gazes locked on the massive form of the EWS Odyssey, now eerily still against the backdrop of deep space. The rift behind it still crackled with energy, pulsating like an open wound in reality. Commander Elias Voss forced his voice to remain steady. "Open a channel." Lieutenant Aisha Grant's fingers flew over the console, but her expression darkened. "They're not responding." "Is it interference?" "No, sir. They just cut the connection." Voss turned to the tactical officer. "Status on the Odyssey." "Scanning now." The officer hesitated as numbers flashed on his display. "Sir, this doesn't make sense. The ship's reactor output has tripled since it was last recorded. Their hull composition. It's not standard titanium alloys anymore. There are unknown elements present, forming some kind of lattice structure over the ship's surface." A creeping unease settled over the room. Then came the movement. Without warning, the Odyssey's external floodlights flickered on, casting an eerie glow over its hull. The ship was repositioning itself, but not using its thrusters. It glided effortlessly, almost as if something else was moving it. Odyssey is repositioning, but their propulsion systems are inactive. The tactical officer confirmed. That was impossible. Newton's laws didn't allow for that. Commander Voss didn't like impossibilities. All fighters, move into an intercept pattern, he ordered. As the fleet's Aegis-class interceptors maneuvered into formation around the Odyssey, something else emerged from the rift. At first, it was nothing but shifting darkness, a shadow against the void. Then, the shape began to solidify, massive, angular, utterly alien. The station's scanners strained to make sense of it, but the readings defied logic. The object seemed both there and not there, flickering in and out of existence, as if reality itself couldn't decide if it was real. Aisha gasped. "Sir, we have a second contact." Voss clenched his fists. "Origin? I don't know." The new arrival was not human. The alien vessel was unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. It was vast, nearly 3 times the size of the Odyssey, but without any discernible engines, thrusters, or visible weapons. Its surface was black and fluid-like, constantly shifting as if made from liquid metal. Strange, pulsating glyphs ran along its surface, glowing with a deep, sickly green. Then came the sound. Not through the station's comms, not through any known frequency. It was inside their minds. A deep, guttural resonance, more feeling than sound. A presence, a hunger, a warning. Voss staggered, gripping the command console as the sensation passed through him like an icy wave. Around the room, officers winced, some clutching their heads. Aisha let out a sharp breath. Telepathic signal. No known translation. The tactical officer was visibly shaken. "Sir, whatever that is, it just scanned us. It knows we're here." On the screen, the Odyssey finally responded. Slowly, its weapon systems powered online. Voss' heart pounded. "Captain Carter, respond immediately. What the hell is going on over there?" Silence. Then, finally, Carter's voice crackled over the speakers. But it was different now. Distorted. Hollow. "Do not interfere." Static swallowed the signal, and all at once, the Odyssey's thrusters roared to life. But it wasn't retreating. It was accelerating. Directly toward the alien vessel. A collision course. Voss barely had time to react. "All fighters, engage. Stop the Odyssey now." The first missile streaked through the void, aimed straight at the Odyssey's propulsion systems. The moment it hit, something impossible happened. The missile stopped. It didn't explode. It didn't miss. It simply froze mid-space, as if time itself had been suspended around it. Then, just as suddenly, the projectile folded in on itself, crumpling like paper before vanishing completely. Gasps echoed around the command center. "What the hell was that?" Aisha whispered. Voss didn't answer. He was watching something far more horrifying. The alien vessel was moving now, but not like a ship. It unfolded, its liquid metal structure stretching and reshaping, forming massive spires that extended toward the Odyssey like grasping hands. The glowing glyphs on its surface pulsed faster, their sickly green light bathing the entire battlefield. Carter's voice returned, but this time, it wasn't directed at them. "We were warned. We did not listen. Now, we are part of it." Then the Odyssey vanished. One moment it was there, rocketing toward the alien vessel. The next, it simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Voss' blood ran cold. Aisha's voice trembled. "Sir, that ship, it just deleted the Odyssey." The alien vessel's form rippled once more. Then, just as quietly as it had arrived, it began retreating toward the still-open rift. As it disappeared, the sensation in Voss' mind faded. The strange presence lifted, but the fear remained. A deep, aching silence filled the room. Then, for the first time in 5 years, the station's long-range scanners picked up something else. A new signal, a distress beacon. But it wasn't coming from the Odyssey. It was coming from deep space, far beyond human-charted territory. And the signature matched Captain Carter's DNA. Voss exhaled slowly, his pulse hammering in his ears. "Get me the fleet. We're going after them." The signal from nowhere. The distress beacon pulsed in perfect intervals, a steady rhythm against the cold void of space. It was a simple transmission, just a repeating code, an ancient identifier used by pre-FTL Earth vessels before quantum encryption became standard. But what made it truly unsettling was the genetic marker attached to it, Captain Race Carter's DNA signature. Commander Elias Voss stared at the readout on the station's main console, his mind racing. It was impossible. The Odyssey had been erased from existence, devoured by whatever alien force had emerged from the rift. There had been no explosion, no wreckage, just disappearance. And yet, here was Carter's signal, transmitting from a point hundreds of light-years beyond human-charted space, a location that should have been unreachable in the span of mere minutes. Lieutenant Aisha Grant turned toward him, her face pale. "Sir, the beacon's origin doesn't match any known system. There's no star, no planets, no space stations, just empty void." Voss clenched his fists. "We're not leaving a man behind. Ready the Valkyrie squadron and prep the EWS Dauntless for immediate departure. We're going after that signal." A tense silence fell over the command center. The implications of what they had just witnessed were still settling in. Whatever had taken the Odyssey wasn't bound by the laws of reality as humanity understood them, and now it was leading them somewhere. The jump into the unknown. The EWS Dauntless, one of Earth's most advanced warships, slipped from the orbital docks and aligned itself with the distress signal's coordinates. The ship's sleek frame shimmered under the glow of station lights as its quantum drives powered up, sending ripples through subspace. Voss stood on the bridge, watching as the jump calculations finalized. Around him, his officers moved with trained efficiency, but there was an undercurrent of unease in their movements. No one wanted to admit it, but they all felt it. This wasn't just a rescue mission. It was a pursuit into the unknown. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3. Voss exhaled slowly. 2, 1. The Dauntless jumped. The stars stretched and blurred, warping into a tunnel of light before snapping back into place. But what they emerged into was not normal space. The dead expanse. The moment they arrived, an overwhelming wrongness settled over the crew. Space wasn't supposed to be black, not entirely. There was always something. A distant star, cosmic radiation, nebula, or the faint glow of distant galaxies. But here, in this place, there was nothing. A complete and total void. No stars, no cosmic background radiation, no sign of anything at all. It was as if they had jumped into a place outside the universe itself. The distress beacon still pulsed in the darkness, its signal stronger than ever, but their scanners struggled to define their surroundings. The Dauntless's instruments flickered, their readings shifting between infinity and zero, as if space itself refused to be quantified. Lieutenant Grant's voice wavered. "Sir, I don't know where we are. The coordinates say we should be within the Perseus arm, but our stellar maps show no recognizable formations." Voss turned toward the main view screen. His gut twisted. There was something out there. Not a planet, not a ship, something else. A vast, titanic structure, floating in the blackness. It was so dark that it was nearly indistinguishable from the void around it. But as the Dauntless's floodlights swept over its surface, the structure's impossible scale became apparent. It was massive, easily the size of a small moon. Its surface was an endless labyrinth of shifting metal, ancient and decayed yet strangely alive, its architecture unlike anything recorded in human history. And at its center, embedded in its impossible framework, was the source of the beacon. Voss felt a chill crawl down his spine. Magnify. The image sharpened, and the bridge fell into a stunned silence. Suspended within the structure's metallic webbing, trapped like an insect in a web, was the EWS Odyssey. A ship that shouldn't exist. Voss took a step forward, his pulse hammering. The ship that had been erased from existence was now right in front of them, perfectly intact, but something was wrong. The hull, Aisha whispered. It was no longer the pristine white and blue of Earth's deep space explorers. Instead, it was blackened, its surface cracked and fused with the alien structure's shifting metal. Strange biomechanical growths extended across its hull, pulsing faintly like veins beneath flesh. Then the distress beacon stopped. A single transmission came through the comms, distorted and filled with static. A voice. Faint, hollow, desperate. Help. Us. It was Carter. The voice was weak, but it was unmistakable. Captain Race Carter was alive. But the Odyssey's power signatures were non-existent. There were no active life signs, no heat signatures, no biological markers of any kind, which meant Aisha swallowed hard. Sir, who sent that transmission? The descent into the monolith. Voss turned away from the view screen, his decision already made. Prep the landing teams, he ordered. I want 2 squads ready in 10 minutes. We're boarding the Odyssey. A hush settled over the bridge. No one wanted to go near that thing. Every instinct screamed against it. But this was more than just a mission now. It was a message. Something had erased the Odyssey from space and time. Something had brought it here. And now, that same something was calling them inside. The Dauntless deployed its dropships, the sleek vessels cutting through the empty void toward the massive alien structure. As they neared, the Odyssey's corrupted hull loomed ever closer, the faint glow of its biomechanical veins pulsing faster, as if aware of their presence. Then, just as the first dropship latched onto the airlock, the Odyssey's engines roared to life. Except, the ship wasn't powering on. It was awakening, and something inside was waiting for them.